Okay, peeps, welcome back. So today, LTCN and BCHG are screaming higher. So we're going to talk about that, HZEN and ETCG. Let's get it. So before I go into the charts with you guys, I just want to show you guys our positions so you can take a look at this. So these are the grayscale positions that we have currently. Very small amount of HZEN, although we are up 19% on that, so that's great. ETCG is making a comeback, which is nice. We haven't bought any in a little while, although we did buy the dip a little bit. Reduced our average, I think it was from like 19 down to 17.26, so pretty good reduction there. We're up 312% on BCHG and 192% on LTCN for a combined total of 191%. So the positions that we have in grayscale, we might add more into the future, but again, like I've told you guys before, basically what we're looking for is a drop in some of the prices of these grayscale trusts or in crypto in general, because again, Bitcoin is pretty overextended. I mean, it could go down it could drop as hard as all the way down to 30,000. That's possible because that's where the EMAs sit on the monthly time frame. If that happens, we will absolutely be looking to buy massively on all of the crypto positions that we have at those lows. So that's kind of why we're holding off at this point, because there's a risk something like that could happen, like a post-halving dump or Fed cutting rates and then it drops or something like that. But as of right now, the portfolio is valued at just shy of 27K. I am realistically expecting at least another, at a minimum, 10 to 15x on LTCN from this current price, and BCHG at least another 4 or 5x at a minimum, just to get back to the highs, which I think is possible. So if something like that happens, I mean, this thing could, the total current value that we have on this could easily 5, 6, 7, maybe even 8x. I think that's definitely within the realm of possibilities. So nothing's changed here. Still holding our positions, still waiting for the moves higher, because we already know they're coming. I mean, we know how crypto works. So LTCN, as you guys can see, we did get a confirmed weekly close above this resistance zone. So this is now turned into support. So you can see we got tested here as support back in 2020, resistance in 2021, and now in 2024, it is support again. We did not technically have a retest, but we don't necessarily have to have one. Sometimes, as you guys can see, like this candle right here, for example, just shot straight through this resistance. It did not even test it until later on. So it basically just blasted straight through and went straight up to all-time highs. That does happen a lot in crypto, believe it or not. A lot of the times, these zones that we look at just completely disrespected by price action. So now that LTCN's sitting at almost $40 a share, where am I expecting this thing to go? I would say somewhere in the $70, $75 range is definitely going to be the immediate target. I think that could happen probably within the next couple of weeks, I would say is realistic. Then we're going to $100 to $135 after that for LTCN. And then once we get above that, I would say the next stop's probably going to be around $200, and then maybe like 280-ish. And then we start obviously approaching highs at that point. Considering that we're not even at the halving yet, and this thing's at $40, the last time this thing was at $40 in a previous cycle, it was basically, well, this was clearly when the fund was launched in August 2020, so we didn't actually get back up to those levels until basically a month before Bitcoin was, at that time, was pushing into new all-time highs. So that tells me about LTCN that we're either very far ahead of schedule and due for a retracement, or what I think is more likely is that we're going to go much higher than the previous highs. So at some point before the peak of the bull run, LTCN will most likely smash through $510, and the sky's the limit. I mean, the top Fibonacci retracement level is $2,300, so that's a massive move from where we're at right now. That's like an 80x or some crazy thing. So something to keep in mind. So BCHG. Oh, before I go any further, I wanted to mention, so tomorrow's, they call it Good Friday, but the stock and options market is closed tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. Usually the markets are open, but tomorrow it's not going to be open. So there will be no trading in stocks and options tomorrow and Sunday. Well, I mean, markets are closed on Sunday anyway. So if you wanted to get into any positions, you probably should have done so before the end of trading day today. Otherwise, you're not going to have another chance till Monday, which means we're not going to see any price action on LTCN and BCHG tomorrow. The next weekly, so yeah, it's Thursday. You guys can see that there's no time limit on this thing, so it's obvious that we're closed for the week. But Monday we will start trading again, so that's something to keep in mind. So anyways, BCHG, this thing has just absolutely smashed resistance. It did not even acknowledge it. It just went straight past it. So that's kind of crazy. We're actually almost in the next resistance level. So that's between 18 to 20 bucks. I mean, this thing is just, wow. That is some candle right there. So we keep seeing candles like this on LTCN and BCHG. We might be at all-time highs within a few months, guys. I know it sounds crazy, but that's kind of what it looks like it's going to be. So just so you all know, the support on LTCN, the new support is between $24 to $27. We'll do the move here real quick. So if we get a retracement, which is possible, you'd be looking at about 310 to about 470%. So that's if you do not have any LTCN currently, or you want to pick up some more. That would be the zone that you'd be looking at. BCHG current zone is 1020 to about 1250, and 1840 to about 20 bucks is going to be the next resistance zone. Once we get past that zone, we'll talk about what the next possible zone is. So if you got in on the pullback, you'd be looking at about 56 to 71%. So HZEN, this one's kind of interesting. So we're still within this bull flag formation. As you guys can see, the weekly close did close within that pattern there. So if we get a breakout to the target's going to be all the way up at 1456. We'll go ahead and measure that real quick. So that move alone by itself is about 54%. So current support is $6.80 to about $8, and then the resistance is $11.25-ish to $12.50, somewhere in there. So there's a little bit of a difference between getting in now and right into the top of resistance versus the move up here. So 69% to get to resistance from support, which we're pretty much in there right now, but to get to that target for the bull flag, about 95%. So ETCG, so this one does actually look quite bullish. So we have some candle closes here above these previous candle closes here, and looks like we're still trying to get above this one. So the resistance still holds. It's between 20 to about 1780. Your support is 1590 to 1330, somewhere in there. And once again, you know, the EMAs, this channel, this trend line, this support zone is all kind of sitting in confluence with each other at the exact same area. So I do expect this bull support zone right here to hold. If you wanted to wait for a pullback and get the measured move up, you'd be looking at about 24 to 42% just for the move up into the next resistance zone. So I actually had a question about ETH or ETH Classic, Ethereum, something like that. So about how exactly it moves. Okay, so when Bitcoin moves, Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash move with it or shortly after it. Okay, that's because they're oscillators. The meaning of an oscillator is it moves in conjunction with something that it's closely correlated in price action with. Okay, that's what an oscillator is. Now, ETH Classic oscillates to Ethereum. It does not oscillate to Bitcoin. Okay, Bitcoin specifically is oscillated by Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash, and maybe a couple other things like Dash and Zcash. ETH Classic is not going to do that with Bitcoin. That's the reason why it has not run up yet, is because Ethereum has not really truly started having a bull run yet. Okay, as soon as Ethereum does, ETH Classic will most likely go up with it. So that's something to keep in mind. So GXLM, this one is looking like it's getting ready to break out of this bull pennant here. Again, the target is $90, basically, roughly about that. We had a close above this resistance, so now this has become support. unless we get a fake out candle and it comes back down. That does happen, but it's pretty rare. So the current support is $53 to about $58. Resistance is going to be $74 to $95. So if you wanted to wait for a pullback to get into this zone, you'd be looking at about 34% to 74% to get to the next zone, and to that bull pennant pattern is about 64%. So pretty good move on that one. This is one of those funds that I was having a bit of a difficult time giving you guys any actual solid numbers here, because we were kind of just stuck in this zone in between the ranges, or the range. But yeah, it was basically just ranging in between these two zones here. So it was pretty difficult to be able to accurately figure this out, but now we have something a little bit more solid to work with, so that's good. ETH, this one is currently testing support from previous resistance, so I would say this is definitely a great buying opportunity right now. Of course, not financial advice, enter at your own risk. But the support is between $25.50 to $29. Resistance is $40.80 to about $47.50. You guys can see that candle closes pretty much almost perfectly at the bottom of that support zone. So that is a buy signal, in my opinion. That's not financial advice. Again, do your own research. Do understand this thing can go lower. But if you were to get in now, the move would be pretty big. It'd be about 56 to about 81%. And again, if this cup and handle pattern were to play out, which we have, that's what this line is right here. That's the target for the cup and handle. The move from that breakout point to the top here is going to be about 90%. So pretty big move. Zcash, this one is interesting. We have a lot of wick rejections up here at the top. That's very bearish. Clearly, whoever is selling here or trying to short this market is trying to hold this resistance zone down. This is just how traders operate, guys. I know you guys are going to be like, oh God, God forbid we don't go to the moon. And, you're just saying that because you want things to go down. Look, guys, if grayscale goes up, all the grayscale trusts go up to all-time highs next month, am I going to complain about that? No, I'm not. I would be happy to see LTCN at $1,000 next month. Trust me. But as a trader, I can tell you guys, this is how trading works. If this was a resistance zone on oil, let's say, and, I was looking for like a reversal trade here. So the trend is up, but this is resistance. And I think we can get held down here on oil. I'm going to short that resistance zone. That's how traders think. Okay. So it's not like we're not trying to go to the moon here. We are. It's just, you got to be realistic about what the charts are saying. So resistance still holds. So that's going to be $7.30 to $8. Support is $4.30 to about $5.20. So this one, I would be waiting for a pullback. I would not get in here. That's just my opinion. It'd be looking at as much as 74%. There is one bullish thing here, though. This candle close right here on this week, as in today, is higher than these candles here. So there is a possibility this thing could break out, maybe, but we'll just have to wait and see. GSOL, again, this thing's kind of coiling up. It's either going to have a big move up or a big move down. I would not buy this personally unless it was somewhere between 200 to 250. I've stated this every single time. So to give you an idea of how big that pullback would be, it'd be as much as 58%. That's a pretty large drop. If you put in $1,000 now and it drops 60%, you're going to be down to $400. So that's the reason why I just simply don't buy things, generally speaking, that are that overextended. But if you manage to get it down at the bottom and hold to the top, the move would be massive. It'd be 220%. So Mano, this one did have a confirmed close breakout. The way that I would play this if it was going to be me is I would basically get in now and wait for this line here to retest as support in the future. That's what I would do. Because again, the move is actually kind of confirmed. If we zoom in here quite a bit and you look at the candle, you see this green candle body top is higher than this red one and this green one. That indicates that the bulls are in control this week. Now, could it sell off? Absolutely. But if I was going to play this as a trade, I would basically get in long here. I would put my stop probably somewhere below these candles, so like maybe 36 bucks or something like that, and then I'd be looking to get in on the pullback. But if it just rips, then I just let it rip and expect kind of this zone to retest. And once we got above this wick here, I would basically move my stop up to break even and then just let the price ride up from there is how I would do it, if that were possible. So anyways, so if you manage to get in on this retest, and I want you guys to understand too, this thing, if it does drop, it's also going to be a big drop. So, considering that you may not be able to put a stop in on this one and a profit target, it may be prudent just to wait for a pullback of some kind, or just sit this one out and be like, you know what, screw it. I can't be sure of this trade, so I'm just simply not going to take it. Or you could buy here and just DCA down. That's a possibility to kind of hedge your bet, so to speak. But those are all strategic possibilities that you could take if you wanted to. But to give you guys some numbers here, so from this line to the top would be about a 35% move. If you got in here and DCA down, you'd be DCAing down for potentially as much as 70%. Or if you wanted to position trade and say, screw that, I'm going to get in at that support zone, and if it doesn't touch it, I'm not going to buy it. Hey, I respect you for your patience. So the move could be pretty massive. If it does play out in your favor, it could be 280% just on that move. So GBAT, this one's very indecisive. I would not touch this one. I'd be waiting for a further pullback. This candle does look pretty bearish. Massive wick to the upside tells me that the sellers were in control on this one. So if we get a pullback from this point down to these EMAs, it could be anywhere from 51 to as much as 70%. Again, a pretty massive move. I would probably start getting in at the top of these candles, so about 10 bucks or so, if it was me. So 228% move on that one. Take a look at G-Link. This one, again, is very indecisive. No clear pattern here in terms of price action. And just to get back to the support zone is a huge move. It's about 41 to about 53%. If I had gotten in down here or down here, unless I was waiting for the bull market peak, if I was just looking to position trade this, I'd be out of this trade right now. I'd sell and then go buy something else that's cheaper, like maybe HZEN or ETCG or something like that. But that's up to you guys. So pullback on this thing could be massive. Could be as much as 54%. The current support is between 78 to about 84 bucks, and the peak up here, as you guys can see, is a massive $220. So if you were patient, waited to get back in at that zone, you'd be looking at roughly about 195 to 200%. PhilG, this one has it has come back down to the EMAs, but it popped back up again. So my guess is this is probably a dead cat bounce of some kind. If you guys don't know what that is, look it up. Basically, like, it goes up, then it pulls back, and you're like, oh yeah, this is going to keep going up. But then it actually pulls back even more. That's kind of what a dead cat bounce is. So basically, the pullback on this one would be anything from 52 to 72. It could even go as low as, all the way down to that little green zone right there, 85%. So me personally, I would not touch this until I got to at least 120 bucks, and then maybe just DCA all the way down. So if you manage to get in at that blue EMA around 120 bucks, which again is kind of where that wick is right there, if you guys can see that wick, 220% would be your move. And why do I mention the wick? Well, as you guys can see on this chart, you see these two wicks here. They line up perfectly, almost perfectly with these candle tops here and or this wick over here. That indicates resistance turned into support. That's the reason why I said that on PhilG, if you guys were wondering. If it pulls back to this wick, that would indicate a resistance turned into support. So GLIV, this thing looks like it's already made its move. I would not be buying at this point, although this candle does look very bullish. It closed above these ones, so it could be going higher. Maybe just be more prudent to pick up a different position at this point, but the pullback could be huge. It'd be 55 to about as much as 71%, so a big move down. I'd be looking to get in at the top of these candles somewhere, so about 26 bucks. And the move from that point would be about 210%. So it's looking good on LTCN and BCHG, guys, and a lot of these other trusts. So pretty good week, I'd say. I mean, seems like we've done pretty well. Hopefully these things keep going up, but we'll keep you guys updated as to what's going on in these trusts. Anyways, hope you all enjoyed this content. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see y'all later. Peace.